Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the Muslim, and everybody else in between. The Thursday night throwdown has begun. This is a hardcore, degenerate special night tonight. And raise your hands if you bet on the PWHL All-Star Game, although I know a lot of you are not that hardcore. We were. And for those of you that have been paying attention over the years, we say this all the time, and the smart ones amongst you follow me with this stuff. We absolutely murder all-star games and weird events that nobody else wants to bet on. Like I'm dead serious, right? College football all-star games, these all-star games, skills stuff, like drafts. Drafts are another one, right? Like it's a big thing for us. The $1 million tournament, the basketball tournament of all the college alum and the street ball teams in the summer and stuff. I love these random events. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. A lot of people know I don't cap that, I don't do this. Because it takes work, right? And/or it takes work, and/or, let's just be real, they don't know, right? They don't know. You'll hear a lot of, people, I don't like this stuff and that. You know why? Because there's a lot of numbers people that like handicap sports right now, but they never played sports, right? Like this is sort of like as close as they get to it. So they don't understand like the sort of, the competition aspect. Oh, well, they don't care about an all-star, this or that and stuff. They just don't get it, right? But if you sort of get it, you can sort of, you can make money on it. So the PWHL All-Star Game tonight was 3-on-3. It was pretty cool, and we were on the right side. So the game was a pick-em. We were on the right side. The problem is I went under 7.5. It was a tough handicap. Props to the odds makers because they got to 8. The game was a 20-minute game, 2 10-minute periods. Shout out to everybody joining us on SiriusXM Channel 159. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid Radio Networks. So it's All-Star night tonight. The NFL players are playing dodgeball. And I got to be honest with you. If I could have bet on it, I probably would have, but I couldn't. So I looked out. I was like, well, there's no number on it, so I'm not going to waste my time breaking it down. But I got no problem with it. Whatever the hell they're doing at this stuff here with their NFL skills contest tonight, I don't know. It's kind of weird. The NHL has this thing going on the same night, but whatever. But it's whacked when basically like Micah Parsons was participating as a quarterback tonight in some skills competition, right? So they're having some fun there. The flag football game last year was really cool, actually. It was very competitive. The players were really into it. But so we had a PWHL All-Star game tonight. It was 7.5 the total. It was 5-2 with like a minute left in the game, all right? And there was a really bad goal that one of the goalies got stupid and tried to play the puck because it was an all-star game, and it cost her, and they scored a free goal because of it, which was, it angered me because I knew this is going to cost me the total of 7.5. But we were on the right side. They pulled the goalie, and they scored a late goal, so it got there barely. It was 1:06 left in the game. I can't believe I got screwed over by an empty net like situation in a freaking 3-on-3 women's all-star game, but I did. And we pulled the trigger tonight on the West. West is best, baby. We pulled the trigger on the West tonight in the Shrine Bowl. The West is winning 23-3. So you don't believe me with this stuff. All right, how many, you know what I mean? How many people told you, the West will win? They're easily winning. Like, they're crushing them. We'll give you the winner for the Senior Bowl on Saturday as well. Like I said, I'm really good at these college football all-star games because I actually watch the games, right? And not just like the big name teams. And I soak in, I read a lot of stuff. So I look at the rosters and I'm like, wow, this roster is a hell of a lot better than I could tell. I was like, well, the West is way better. And it's 23-3 right now. I need some points in this game. And a kid on the East is returning a punt for a touchdown as we speak. Boom. Good. We need points in this game. There it is. Gold. I think he's a Virginia Cavalier. I can't tell. It's dark. No, he's a Beaver. My bad. It's really dark in the stadium and stuff. He's got like a black helmet with an orange sticker. I couldn't tell. Is that Virginia? Look, what helmet is that? He's a Beaver. Man, hell of a video game spin move right there. There's some Tulia Tags is in this game. There's some good there's some big-time players in this game, right? You got the Senior Bowl, you got the Shrine Bowl, you got a bunch of these games. Yeah, Anthony Gold, Oregon State, 5'8", wide receiver. That punt return that he just did right there, that probably made him like $1 million. I'm dead serious. You know what I mean? Like that just bumped them from like they just bumped them from like early fifth to like the third round. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was amazing what he just did. Because you've got like these are all really good players on the field here. Everybody's super fast. He just blazed past everyone, did like a video game, the ultimate little spin reverse, and boom, he was gone. You have to go for two in this game when you score a touchdown. So they were just forced to go for two, and they got it. Suddenly it's 23-11 right now. We're up to 34. I got it. We gave you the over 37 before the game started, but we've got an in-game over 40.5 here. So we need more points. But that was a big one right there, getting that score. Okay, so countdown to Super Bowl 58 is on. We've got some late night college basketball. It's one of these West Coast nights tonight. Long Beach, Cal State Fullerton. We do have Brawny, USC, and the Ducks are going head to head. USC got a lot of publicity, but kind of like their football team, they're not very good. USC basketball, like they're not very good. The Ducks aren't great. The game is in Los Angeles. We'll get into it. Drew Martin will step up and in. We're super stacked tonight. We're what they call in the business overbooked tonight. So we've got Drew Martin stepping up and in. The Raging Redhead, Cam Stewart will kick it with us. Neil Parker will make his SportsRage debut from Covers.com. Showing some love to Covers tonight. Neil Parker steps up and in from Covers.com. We've got Mr. Brent Beard, Heisman Trophy voter, First Coast News college football analyst. Derek Dimes, Defeat the Book in the house. I was a big fan of Derek. Good to have him back on the show tonight. Derek Dimes steps up and in. Rick Saratella kicks it with us tonight. So we got a lot of Super Bowl predictions, college basketball tonight, and there was a hell of a lot of stuff that's going on today. So Dan Quinn is the new head coach of the Washington Commanders. Cliff Kingsbury is the new offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders. Joel Embiid has got a torn meniscus. The Philadelphia 76ers season has just imploded. And people are, blaming, he tried to play the 65 games. Like, really? Is this what we're doing now? We're going to debate whether the players should have to play or not? Like, is this where we're at here right now? Like, come on. All right. Joel Embiid he's a great player. Like a lot of big men that have knee problems, it's going to carry on forever. And it just is what it is. And in fact, as good of a coach as Nick Nurse is, I was kind of surprised that of all the jobs out there that he did want the Philadelphia job, because Philadelphia's success is simply 1,000,000% put on Joel Embiid. So your career is joined at the hip with a dude who's got a hip like an old lady does. Like Sister Jean's in as good a shape as Joel Embiid is at this point. Jenna Jameson's had less surgeries. This is Sports Rage.
Kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction, or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy
The early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
better.
night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. All right, so maybe we mushed the West. The East just came up with a big stop on fourth down, and it's 23-11 right now. I want points in this game, so let's get this thing going. The West just went for it on fourth and short from their own, 40, 42-yard line or whatever, and they got stuffed. The East has a little momentum going right now in this football game. We are on the West on the money line. The game was essentially a pick 'em. It was minus 120, whatever. So we're on the West. They were up 23-3, but the East is showing signs of life right now, 23-11. It's all about All-Star Week this week, as it was the PWHL All-Star game tonight, 3-on-3. The Team King beat Team Kloss. We were on Team King as well, but we lost the under 7.5 because the final score was 5-3 because they scored with a minute left in the game. It's a cold-ass world, but we got more games coming up, like right now on the college hardwood. Mr. College himself, Drew Martin Betts, in the house. We got the Regiment Cam Stewart kicking it. What's going on, Drew? How you doing?
Gabe, I'm doing good, man. Cam, always good to be on with you. And I'll tell you, these all-star games, they're kind of fun, huh, Gabe? I mean, I'm doing some research here on the Senior Bowl as well. It's amazing how many good quarterbacks we had in college football. I feel like that's such a big part of the handicap come for these all-star games. Also knowing the rules, sometimes like blitzing, things of that nature. But overall, man, it's good to be on with you. And we got some action here on the college basketball hardwood and on the gridiron.
We've got Rick Saratella joining us. He spent the week actually in Alabama. I'm going to talk about the Senior Bowl a little bit later on. But I got to tell you, as far as quarterbacks are concerned in the Senior Bowl this year, it's a super impressive, it's crazy the name quarterbacks that are playing this Saturday in this game. And Bo Nix and Michael Penix are on the same team, which is actually a cool dynamic. So one of the teams, these are the quarterbacks that are participating in the game here. Michael Penix, Carter Bradley from South Alabama, Sam Hartman, Notre Dame, Michael Pratt, Tulane, Bo Nix from the Ducks, Spencer Rattler, South Carolina, and Joe Milton from Tennessee. And as I stated, Bo Nix and Michael Penix are on the same team as well. That's a cool dynamic to put rivals. And they're also they want to see them side by side with the same players too. That was the point of doing this. It's kind of weird. They're 1,000,000% competing with each other, right, for draft stock. The Senior Bowl is run by the NFL, essentially. So this was like the method to the madness. Let's put these two that everybody has sort of side by side, put them with the same players. Put them with the same players and the same offense. So it's not like, well, so we can actually see a head-to-head comparison. And for the record, Cam, and anyone's been following the Senior Bowl this week, Michael Penix is kind of pulling away from some, right? But he's a very polarizing player, Penix. Some guys don't like him, but Penix has had a pretty good week at the Senior Bowl. Spencer Rattler's had a good week at the Senior Bowl so far. But I look forward to betting this game on Saturday, Drew, and I will be pulling the trigger on it.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to do it too. I'll tell you this about some of the quarterbacks as well. And Bo Nix, Michael Penix. First off, I was watching some of the practice. Like, it seems like those two guys, just watching the interviews, they really actually like each other. They both do seem like really nice guys for whatever that's worth, and maybe betting on that squad. And the other four quarterbacks on the other side of it, I think it's American and National is what we're calling it. Like, Carter Bradley for South Alabama, if you watch the Jags play, man, they were pretty good. Like, if I'm an NFL GM, I know it's the Sun Belt, but still, Sun Belt's pretty good football. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes kind of higher than a lot of people kind of projected. And the Tulane quarterback as well, Michael Pratt. I mean, I actually thought that guy might go to the NFL last season. He's a prototype quarterback. I can see some of these guys, yeah.
Look how they set it up. The blue chips against the upstarts.
Exactly.
It's all by design. It's like, okay, Michael Penix, Michael Penix Washington, Bo Nix, Sam Hartman, all those guys combined over 150 games started, Notre Dame, Oregon, Washington, the big name guys, and look what they did. That's team, for the record, that's Team National. So Team American is the upstart guys. Spencer Rattler, Bradley, guys with something to prove, Cam. That's something to keep your eye on, actually, right? It's you got sort of the blue chippers versus the upstart guys. That's another thing that they do by design. But it's hard to get in front of this team, man. You look at this team, this national team. But anyways, let's get to the college basketball because this is only on Saturday. What are you betting tonight, Drew? West Coast late night action here. Got anything for us?
Yeah, I do. Got one actually in the Conference of Champions. While it's still last year, Gabe, I decided to get down on Oregon and USC, and I am on the under. Watching USC play their last game against UCLA, I actually don't think this Trojans team, I mean, they got big name players, LeBron James' son. I don't think they're all that good. And when you watch them offensively, it's like there's something wrong. They don't mesh well on the offensive end. Oregon at the same time, not that they're a bad team by any means, but I don't think they're going to light it up offensively. So seeing this total, pretty hefty total, 150 earlier in the day, I liked it to the
down
under,
to 147
late night under.
It's been bet down, Drew, like 4 points, 146.5. That's a big move.
I want to take the Ducks here. I think the Ducks will win, but I don't think it'll be easy. Plus, the Ducks lost to one of their starters on Saturday, the kid from Montreal, actually, which doesn't help them offensively either. So the market agreed with your move. Cam, are you betting any of these late-night college basketball games?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take a team that's probably not very popular, but 8-2 in their last 10 ATS. They've been playing pretty good. 12-8 team. I know I'm a real Gauchos guy, Gabe, but UC Davis, I think that line kind of tells you something there. I think UC Davis might be live in the Big West tonight, getting 3.5 against Santa Barbara. Small play. That's the one I'm looking at.
And last week, Drew, props to you. I remember you were on Santa Clara. Santa Clara against Hawaii on Thursday night. They cashed the ticket for us. Yeah.
That Hawaii team's not very good. Take it for what it's worth, guys. Even, the old cliche, hey, don't bet against Hawaii on the island. I'll bet against Hawaii on the island in football and in basketball. It's been a couple years now, guys. If you've been tracking it, it's not what it's cracked up to be. Travel's a lot easier in 2024.
They're off to a good start tonight. So if you want to jump in, actually, we can get. I was thinking about it actually. They're winning 19-8 right now. The game, it was essentially a pick-em against Cal State Fullerton. So it's 19-8. There's still 9 minutes left in the first half. The New England total's low at 123.5. Long Beach and Bakersfield are tied. I'll tell you what, too. You talked about USC. I said the same thing off the top of the show, Drew. I said USC have the big names. They've got LeBron James' kid. Collier was like the top recruit in the country, but they suck. Let's call it out for what it is. They have no chemistry. They can't shoot. They're just sort of a bunch of NBA prospects, like that are,
Yeah.
been dropped on the floor together with no chemistry at all. But UCLA have been a massive disappointment this year. I mean, how can you in good faith lay 10 points with this team? I get that it's in LA, but I don't think it matters. I think UCLA fans are giving up on this team. It's not like it's like hostile environment or anything.
No, nothing like that, Gabe. I mean, at both sides of it, the LA squads have been head scratching. And yeah, I wouldn't lay it with the Bruins. And to your Trojans point, I always felt like Andy Edfeld, he had that Florida Gulf Coast team, and he's been to the tournament a couple times now with USC, won a pretty good run here. But it seems for whatever reason this season, and it might turn, Gabe, like with all this talent on the team, it might turn.
Bronny having the heart attack before the season or the cardiac arrest. You know what I mean? The heart thing didn't help, right? Like he didn't play. But USC basketball has never really been a thing. Like it just hasn't.
And you wonder why. With the good weather, why they don't recruit better.
Remember the kid Minor? What's his name? Minor. He was the star many years ago.
I kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news. Trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterback,
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live.
Just
prime
took
time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
that was
late
better.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There's a late hit out of bounds. Here's another quarterback. I am Gabriel Morency. Cam Stewart in the house with us. Drew Martin kicking with us. Drew, you're a big college football guy. Here's the quarterback. He just scrambled for a first down, got smoked out of bounds. Keaton Slovis. Doesn't it feel like it was like 12 years ago that he was like the biggest prospect? He really feels like so long ago, like USC, like the biggest prospect, man. Keaton Slovis, this kid's like going to be a future NFL star. And for the record, this kid, he's from Arizona, and his high school coach was Kurt Warner. So that's why it got this sort of run. And Kurt Warner, like, was his mentor and as a teenager and whatnot. And people were like, yeah, this kid's really good. He went to USC, but he's one of these dudes. He sort of bounced around the portal and all that type of stuff. Played pretty good football for BYU here. He's a backup in the NFL, but he is a blue chip. Like, he's a type of guy that's seen a lot of football. He's seen things, and coaches will like because he's just a high IQ football guy, which leads me into the Super Bowl. Brock freaking Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is starting in the Super Bowl. That's all you need to know, right? Like, and why did Brock Purdy get as far as he did? He started a ton of games at Iowa State, right? He wasn't on a great team. He started a ton of games. He had to carry the team on his back, and he's seen a lot of football. That's the new trend, guys, in the NFL. Like, experience. Michael Penix, experience. Bo Nix, experience. Sam Hartman, experience. All these experienced quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, though, not a lot of NFL experience, and it seems crazy, doesn't it, that like you're going to take anyone would take Brock Purdy against Patrick Mahomes in a game is basically a pick 'em, Drew.
Oh yeah, that I mean that's a question in itself, Gabe. That's very hard to answer. I'll tell you going into this Super Bowl. But you bring up like Brock Purdy. Something about quarterbacks in the NFL and playing quality football games. A bunch of them getting that experience in college, there is a correlation there. There really is. And he started as a freshman at Iowa State. I don't know if he started all the games, but he played so much football there in Ames. And we're seeing that happen time and time again. And it's the guys that got to like claw up. Like you bring up Slovis, the big time recruit to USC under Kurt Warner, that's set up so well for him to be like highly recruited. Yet it didn't work out the way for him to kind of flourish into the top pick in the NFL. I almost think that there's something to kind of, the mindset that's built having to work your way to the starter in college football and then kind of parlay that into the NFL rather than just kind of come in and be handed the job right out of the gate as a very, very high recruit. So all of that being brought in, I mean, talking about the Super Bowl though, how about it? I mean, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, he just knocked off Jared Goff, who was the number 1 pick in the NFL draft in the NFC Championship game, and now going up against Patrick Mahomes. Another little trend I've noticed is Big 12 conference quarterbacks being successful in the NFL, and we have an all Big 12 quarterback matchup in the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy here, Gabe.
That's crazy, Drew, that you bring that up, actually. I didn't think about that with 2 Big 12 quarterbacks because that has not been the case. Like, if you look at the history of Big 12 quarterbacks in the NFL, they're few and far between. Like really.
They're coming along. I mean,
no, but I'm saying in the past. Like,
no, in the past, there have been nobody.
Yeah. Like who?
Right. It's changing.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph?
Gabbert? Blaine Gabbert, Missouri. Like, that was at Big 12 before they were in the SEC. Like, honestly, like, Big 12 quarterbacks have not. It was always that. And that was sort of the knock on Mahomes. Because, the thought is all the time that the Big 12, that there's no defense, right? That was the rep before, at least, more so, right? Like RG3, Baylor games, there was 80 points, and there's all these, a million points all the time. But good point as far as the Big 12 is concerned. It's Mississippi State is well represented, actually, here. You've got Chris Jones, Mississippi State, and Willie Gay, both on the Chiefs for Mississippi State. The SEC is always around. So what are you doing with the game, Drew? Who are you leaning with? What kind of props are you looking at? What are you going to do with this game?
Yeah, I'm more invested in the props, let's just say overall. But, side-wise, I guess we got to start here. Close matchup. Who's going to win this game? I think we could flip a coin. And I feel like it's the quote-unquote square play to take Patrick Mahomes. But go back to the experience. I don't know. I feel like I'd be kicking myself a little bit more at the end of this when we could get Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Taylor Swift behind them all, Travis Kelce and just, if it doesn't come through a winner, I can live with myself a little bit better than going with Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers.
The power of Taylor Swift. And all kidding aside, I don't say it because I think the league doesn't care who wins the Super Bowl now. Like they've gotten, you know what I mean? So, but as you stated, like the power of positivity that she has around her and the level of success that she has around her, I think it's rubbed off. Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's like you're going against her somehow and all of her magic. Right? You just got, like, I just picture after, Cam. Do you really, like, what do you imagine more, Drew and Cam? What do you picture more after the game? Taylor Swift and Kelce smiling, kissing, and just living a perfect life and everybody hating him even more and being more jealous? Or her consoling him after a loss? It's almost like, nah, you kind of picture that it's just going to work out good for them. Right?
Yes.
They're going to get on a plane. See you later. Bye-bye. Like,
I have a feeling, Gabe, it's going to be like the parking lot at the Sunset Station, almost in tears again. Like, it's just different location. Like, last time San Francisco had a lead,
against
they threw it away.
I know.
Like,
her success.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Do you think she's going to, like, it's going to be a bad day for her? She doesn't have bad days.
No, she doesn't. She lives a charmed life, Morency. You're right, though. But me and you were stubborn, I guess. But you talked about it, and I think the thing that is very important.
McCaffrey.
I am too. I'm buying into Christian McCaffrey, and you said it. When I look player for player and the depth that the Niners have with Deebo Samuel and others, so what are you going to do? In San Francisco, you know what I mean? Like that defense, now they can worry about one guy. Like the Lions had a lot of different players. Green Bay was a hot team when they came in there, and Jones was on fire, and other guys were on fire. You can kind of key in who are the weapons, Gabe? Kelce and Rice. Other guys you're not really afraid of. So I know San Francisco's been carved up, but if you look at their team, I just think they're a deeper team. I worry about the defense a little bit, though.
I saw a prop tonight. There's, they continue to pop up here, but both teams to score 20 or more points, Drew. It's minus 110. Are both teams going to get into the 20s?
I would think so. Yeah. I haven't bet that prop, but I like it to the over. To tell you the truth, Gabe, I mean, we're talking about
the way the worry about who wins the game a bit, too, right? You get into the 20s,
yeah.
It's like, hey, it's 27, 24, whatever. I'm not going to sweat it. You'll have a side anyways, but that's the way I look. I'm going to have San Francisco, but I will bet this, both teams to 20.
Well, what about just betting the total to the over, though, Gabe, in case one team like runs
too.
Yeah,
I mean, 58, Super Bowl 58 bets, Drew. Come on.
Total 58.
It's like when we were younger, you drink the amount of beers that it was your birthday, right? It's like, hey, I'm 22. Yeah. Hey, it's 22 beers tonight. Hey, you know what I mean? Super Bowl 58, 58 bets.
Yeah.
I think I can.
Oh, I don't do 58, but yeah, you could, Cam. You could.
That's a lot of beers. It's a lot of beers, man.
But I will be betting the over. I've got right now, and I'm not going to lock in my final score right now, but as I sit right now, 28-24 San Francisco wins.
That's so funny, Gabe. I have 27-24 San Francisco. That's the first number that popped up. So we're 1 point off. But yes, I'm in your hemisphere for sure.
That could be a little higher scoring. You know what I mean? KC's defense has been awesome, but I think San Francisco will score. KC will score on San Francisco, though. You're not shutting down Mahomes, Kelce, and Rice, and you're just not. They're gonna get into the 20s. I do like both teams get into the 20s. What's your what kind of props you got, Drew? What are you looking at?
I got a couple circled here, Gabe. One of them. Well, first off, do you want to bring up 3 straight dogs in terms of winning the Super Bowl? That's one thing, I guess, pointing towards San Francisco, even though I would call it more of like a pick'em game. First team to score wins the game. I actually no. And another thing, I think we get a little bit of, value, quote unquote, because it's a closer price game. Like it's near a pick'em price. So if one team does get behind, I think there's more of a ability to come back. Plus the fact I have question marks on both of these defenses, Gabe. I really do. I mean, San Francisco, we've seen them give up some points, and also Kansas City at the same time. I'm not exactly sold throughout the playoffs. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I felt like we didn't see his best. He didn't really show up to play. And against the Miami Dolphins, remember, it was under 0 degrees in Kansas City.
And Buffalo did move the ball on them. And that middle, Buffalo did move the ball on them.
So I have question marks defensively on both sides. So I like the over as well, and I would look for more offensive scoring props. Maybe And I don't even normally like betting first quarter overs in the Super Bowl because I usually think they're slower starters. But this time out, with all the experience for Kansas City and the question marks on both defense, I like overs early on too.
This is the first time I disagree with you. I think there'll be a slower start. I'm always a massive fan of will there be more points in the first half, second half prop in the Super Bowl. And I always take the second half. I think Purdy has shown, San Francisco have shown they're a little bit slow out of the gate, a little bit. I think both teams will be a little bit conservative, not wanting to fall behind because they're going to want to dictate the tempo. So I'm even buying in that there won't be points in the first 6 minutes of the game. But I love where you're going, Drew, and I bet this last year, actually, and I hit it. I cashed it like plus 140, was the team that scores first. 5 of the last 7 Super Bowls, Drew, the team that scores first has not won the game. So you're 5-2 with this bet. And I've seen it up to as high as plus 145 tonight. I'm already on it. I put that prop in already. I like it. And in fact, I think Kansas City are going to score a field goal first to start the game. That's going to be the first score of the game. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, boys.
I like that.
I kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction, or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was good
late
betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid radio and television networks. The Shrine Bowl. We're down to 6 minutes left right now. We're in trouble with the over here. We're on the West. That's the good news. Okay, but we need a touchdown. We need a touchdown. And it'd be better if the East had the ball because they're the ones trying to score, but they just threw an interception trying to score because they're trying to come back in the game. Now there's under 6 minutes left in the game. The West have the ball at midfield. Maybe we can get lucky and somebody will crack one, break one open. They are throwing the ball. Like, they are moving the ball here. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get the ball back. We need a touchdown. And the thing is, too, I doubt there'll be a field goal. I think the West will probably either just try to kill the clock, run the ball, and score another touchdown, or the East won't be kicking field goals down 12. So we'll keep our eye on this. We've got a full slate of college basketball going on right now. As well. So it's 23-11 in the Senior Bowl. Quick check in the NBA. Joel Embiid is out, but the Philadelphia 76ers right now are beating the Utah Jazz. It's 39-32 after the first quarter of play. I think the Jazz could be worth a look here. Thing with the Jazz is the Jazz have been very good. Right, the Jazz have been a money-making team, man. They're 7-3 against the spread their last 10 games. They've been competitive. The Jazz beat teams that they're supposed to beat, and it's crazy because the Jazz aren't supposed to be good, right? But they don't suck, and they're playing good basketball right now. Philadelphia has had a rough little week here, so I'm surprised. I'm going to say that. Oftentimes when a team finds out their guy is out, there'll be an initial spark, right? They'll play over their heads. All right, everybody's got to step up type of deal. And then reality kicks in a couple of games later. But I think reality could kick in a couple of quarters later here, right? In which, so what, the Utah Jazz closes 5.5-point favorites. So you get a 5.5-point favorite. But the thing is, the Jazz are still actually favorites right now. They are minus 2.5, even though they're losing 39-32 after the first quarter of play. College basketball, I pulled the trigger on the Ducks, guys, on the money line against USC. It's 21-17 right now. Drew said he liked the under 147. Drew's in a lot of trouble right now because they've already scored 100. The new in-game totals 166.5. They've scored 38 points in 6 minutes in this game. Poor Drew. Drew pulls the trigger I've been there, bro. You thinking. That's why I don't like betting on unders. All right? Because, you bet on under in a basketball. People ask me, you don't bet on, and here's a stupid field goal coming up here. It's not enough for us, though. So there's going to be 3 minutes left in this game after. Maybe we can, there's going to be 3 minutes left. Maybe we can get some points here from the East. All right, I understand we're having some technical, I'm all right now, but as we see, Cam is lost in cyberspace somewhere right now. 26-11 with 3 minutes left. So I jumped in on the Ducks on the money line. It's 21-17 right now, early in the game. They've only played 6 minutes in this game. There's 13:52 left. And I talked about the Beavers. The Beavers are getting 10.5. Right now it's 10.5 in-game against UCLA. And I know that home court means a lot in the Pac-12. I get it. But UCLA, they're just not very good this year. And let alone, it'll be UCLA will be happy to win this game. Let alone, we got to win the game by 11 points. I'm going to jump in on the Beavers here. We're not going to go crazy on it, but let's get a piece of the Beavers. We're here to bet, baby, in the late 9 hours. So Drew talked about that liking the team, the team that scores first to win the game prop. And as I stated, I gave this to you guys last year, actually. And if you recall, the Philadelphia Eagles did score the first touchdown of the game. Jalen Hurts scored the first touchdown of the game. And that's a market that we have to get into because that's where the money is. Yet, who is going to score the first touchdown of the game? I think you can make an argument for both tight ends, Travis Kelce and George Kittle. Kansas City have been good against tight ends, but I still think that George Kittle put it this way, Kansas City's defense with this Kittle stuff, Kansas City's defense is sort of, they'd rather let you catch the ball than give up the yards. All right? So it's something to think about when you're thinking about San Francisco player props. Like, do you want the receptions or do you want the yards? And a good example is, like, Mark Andrews actually had 4 catches last week. Doesn't feel like it, right? The guy was injured. He came back. And, by the way, Mark Andrews saved somebody on a plane today. Somebody collapsed and passed out. And nobody knew how to solve the situation. And Mark Andrews said, maybe they're diabetic. And he was right. And he's diabetic, and he had like his diabetes testing kits and stuff and blood sugar and all that. And he saved the woman's life. So Mark Andrews actually saved a woman's life today. Pretty cool story right there. But he only had like 31 yards. All right. So it was 4 catches, 31 yards. Kittle's been sort of all or nothing. Right. And, you're not going to put up massive stats. So you sort of got to be careful. I will play to Kelsey over 6.5 receptions. That's just going to be an automatic. Look, he had 11 catches in the last game. We know Mahomes going to throw to him no matter the situation. San Francisco's a little bit trickier from the player prop perspective. I brought up liking McCaffrey. To me, the game goes through McCaffrey. Right? Like, if McCaffrey doesn't have a big game, San Francisco are in trouble. And we talked about McCaffrey. If you like San Francisco, I personally think McCaffrey is the MVP, prime candidate, and contender to be the most valuable player. But I was looking at the touchdown market here, and listen, it's insanity, the numbers that you have to lay for a touchdown with McCaffrey in any situation. Even against a defense as good as Kansas City's is, it's minus 225 right now. But then you get into, all right, he's probably going to score more than 1 touchdown. I think he does, actually. I think McCaffrey's going to be the MVP of the game. And to be the MVP of the game, he's going to need a couple of touchdowns. So, let's put together a same-game parlay here of San Francisco to win the football game and McCaffrey to score 2 touchdowns, 2 or more touchdowns. And now we'll be talking. We'll get into some decent numbers here. All right, touchdown score, multiple touchdown scores. Plus 240. I'd like a little bit more. We got Neil Parker. I think Neil's is Neil ready to go? From covers.com. Let's rock. How you doing, Neil?
Hey, Gabe, buddy. I'm doing great, man. Long time. I remember the last time I talked to you, the first time, all the way back 2016, the summer. Dallas Cowboys have a quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. Dak Prescott has taken over. And I'll never forget that, my man. It was hilarious.
Feels like that was longer than that, but hey, you know what?
I know. I thought for sure it was a dozen years ago almost.
I knew that Dak was the man coming out of Mississippi State, actually, when nobody else did. But now, you know what? They've come full circle, and there's frustration in Dallas. But that's another story. So we've lost Cam. I don't know what's going on. We've had some problems here suddenly tonight, but it's all good. But what did you think tonight of the NHL All-Star Draft? Listen, the teams are great and stuff, but there's got to be a better way of doing this and wasting 2 hours of our life with like the most terrible television. Like, I'd rather watch like British Parliament than that crap. That was bad, bro. I don't know what you thought about it. It was hard to watch.
No, 100%. It wasn't that enjoyable. I had my daughter with me, so that kind of made it more fun. She was interested. We could kind of talk about it, and I kind of like grimace-worthy, right? And you could tell that the guys didn't really know what was going on, and the captains didn't know, and Dave Amber didn't really know. I don't know who the other guy was. And so, yeah, it was a little cringeworthy for sure. Could have got it over with probably in half an hour. And then
they got to do like a fantasy football draft. Just do like, you got 30 seconds, you're on the clock, and we'll make it fast and chaotic and fun where, I don't know, okay, I'm going to take this guy. And it would set up. Listen, I bet on the PWHL All-Star game tonight. That's what I was tuning in for. And I kept just, tuning in, tuning out, tuning in, tuning out. And it was a little frustrating, bro, because I was on the right side of Team King. I follow the PHL closely. We've been murdering it with the totals, but I bet the under 7.5, Neil, and they freaking got to 8.
Yeah, there were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple layups there, and there were a couple blown chances too. And that's exactly what I was going to say. I just wanted to watch that because again, I've tuned into a few games. I'm a hockey fan. I'm not just an NHL fan, and it's nice to see the product actually receiving a full house, and the crowd was into it, and it was fun. It was a good, exciting little game, good switch up. So. I'm with you on that one, and I think you got lucky that it only got to 8. There were quite a few breakaways and missed chances there that didn't end up in the back of the net.
No, you're right. There's good goaltending, although one of the goalies really gifted one tonight. So the teams are set right now.
She tried to give another one away.
I know. After that was the other goalie that she tried to up her actually because they switched goalies after the period. But yeah,
oh right.
Team McKinnon versus Team McDavid. All these games are basically pick'em. So they're minus 115 on both sides. Team Matthews is minus 115 against Team Hughes, and both totals are 11.5. Did anything stand out to you? Did you say, you know what? Yeah, I like this team better than the other team. And or what are your thoughts on these totals at 11.5? What's your take on the All-Star games?
I think you're going to see a lot of offense, I hope, because I don't think the compete level is really going to be there as much. One thing that definitely stood out to me is that Team McDavid and Team Matthews aren't as deep. The bottom of those two teams, I don't think they have the same kind of offensive talented players that the Team Hughes and Team Matthews has. McKinnon team might be the worst in nets with Georgiev and Swayman. And then I'm just kind of looking like, where does Tom Wilson, Oliver Borkstrand, where do they fit in? And then with McDavid, Robert Thomas, awesome player, really good puck distributor. I kind of like that pick. But then to follow it up, I'm not completely sure that Boone Jenner, Thomas Hertl was been hurt. Tomas Hertl, I mean, he missed that past 2 games. So I'm worried that the bottom of those two teams aren't quite deep enough, and they don't have the offensive skill that Team Matthews and Team Hughes has. And then just quickly, Gabe, to wrap this up about Team Hughes, they took Kucherov, and he looked like the most disinterested person in the whole building. Not like a big geopolitical guy, but like maybe draft a countryman for him and someone he can talk to instead of just going with American. Anyway, and I do like the chemistry that the Matthews team kind of built around outside of just obviously the Leafs. But Forsberg and Nylander, both Swedes, and then they've got 4 Americans that they drafted with Keller, DeBrincat, Trocheck, and Ottinger too, right? So I think there could be a nice dynamic there for the Team Matthews, in addition to maybe having a home ice advantage, if you can even say that there is a home ice advantage in this event. But if there is, it's got to be for the hometown group of Leafs. But
it's too bad that Team Hughes and Team Matthews are playing each other, actually, going head-to-head.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of thought that Mike would maybe go in a different direction, or at least listen to some people with some different ideas.
If you were going to retain Mike Tomlin as coach, and I believe with both feet that you shouldn't let him really anywhere near this hire. That he had proved over the years that this was not an area of comfort or expertise for him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a beautiful time. NBA players are going wild. If I had to guess, a lot of people are going to get real angry. No defense, no defense, no defense. See, I want people to understand this, okay? Because we're always honest. When I take that big pause, that means we're thinking about betting big.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman
The
Trophy
early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
good betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
for
did.
patient. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We just lost the total of the the Shrine Bowl, man. It was 37.5. They got to 37. We needed another touchdown or field goal. There were too many turnovers late. The West were too good. They kept on getting stops. But we hit the West. We get the split. So we went 1-1 in the women's All-Star game. We go 1-1 in the Shrine Bowl tonight. And you know what? Lesson learned. I was right with both sides, and I was wrong with both totals. So a lesson learned going into the Senior Bowl. I'm going to stay away from the damn total, and I'll just give you guys a damn winner of the game. So we lost Cam, then we had Neil Parker. Now we've lost Neil. I think we could get Neil back. I think we might have Neil back in a second. I don't know what's going on. Normally we're such a smooth operation. Tonight,
Smooth
well,
as
we are.
glass. Yes.
Smooth as a bowling ball. But we lost Cam, and now we got Neil back. But good to see you, Neil. So Cam is back right now.
Hey,
so we got a break coming up here in a minute, and we'll get Neil's Super Bowl thoughts on the other side. But as far as the NHL All-Stars, and Neil, you're in the Maritimes, and the way these All-Star, these rosters are broken down, it's essentially Team Canucks versus Team Leafs, and then you got Team Maritimes, right? Crosby and McKinnon are buddies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's Team Maritimes here. If you notice how this all played out, it really was sort of cliquish. But you've got Nate McKinnon, Cale Makar, Sidney Crosby, Kaprizov, Sebastian Aho, Tom Wilson, Swayman, Connessy, Lindholm, and Borkstrand. But as you stated earlier, yeah, it looks devastating at the top. You're like, oh my God, you got Nate McKinnon, Cale Makar, and Sidney Crosby together. The rest of these guys aren't built for all-star style hockey. What's Tom Wilson going to do? He can't kill. He can't cheap shot anybody here.
Right. Put a stick through a guy's
what's
head.
the point? Lindholm's really good, Cam, in a real game. But now it's I don't know. It's not the most, you know what I mean? So I kind of, I'm not sure about Team McKinnon. We'll hit the rosters on the other side, and we'll get Neil's Super Bowl thoughts. We got Derek Time stepping up and in as well in a couple of minutes.